Hey everybody, how you doing today? I was a little bored just watching a movie and thought I'd take apart my Kershaw Leek here. Never took apart a Kershaw Speed Safe knife before, so I'm kind of interested in seeing what's going on inside here. For this, I'm going to need a T6 for the body screws and a T9 for the pivot. I'll just start with the body screws. Like I said, this will be my first time actually taking apart a Speed Safe knife. I want to actually see how the actual mechanism works. These body screws don't seem to be too hard to take out. Don't know if they're Loctited or not. Let's see if they'll come out. Switching to the T9 for the pivot. And the one thing I do know about taking apart actual assisted knives, you want to make sure that your blade is in the open position, or at least you want to make sure that the least amount of tension is on the spring when you open this, so that when you do, it doesn't fly all apart. So that's the pivot screw. I'm going to try to keep track of these screws and where they go. The pivot screw is fairly obvious where it goes, but for these three body screws, I'm going to lay them out in a sort of pattern, if you will. Just sort of noting which one's the first one, second one, and third one. I've had an experience or two before where mix matching these will tend to strip out the threads, but that was more on cheaper knives. So just opening this up now if I can. Just taking a little bit of a wiggle to get it out. Seems like one of these screws might still be attached. I usually do take apart most of my knives. I try not to, because I don't want to screw them up, strip screws, that sort of thing. But my curiosity usually wins over, and I do take them apart. So, got the aluminum scale off. I'll just take these screws out. And sort of leave them like a... Where are they? 1, 2, 3, and then I'll put the pivot one at the top. So that'll let me know which screw goes where when I go to put this back together. You can see the actual scale itself is packed full of grease. You want to leave that in there. It actually looks like petroleum jelly, which is strange. I guess it works though, just to basically lube up the spring and keep it from rattling around in the chamber. And you can see the actual spring there. I'll just take that out. Put that off to the side. Put the scale off to the side. There's your steel liner. I'm going to leave all that grease in there. I don't see a need to clean it out. It's fairly clear. It's not like all grunged up and full of gunk. So that's good. Just taking this top scale off. Just hold on a second, guys. Okay. I thought there was rust on there, but it's just a little bit of dirty grease. That yellowing. So just trying to get this scale off. You see the back spacer just falls out. Put that off to the side. Just sort of wiggle this scale back and forth. Trying not to put too much pressure into this. It's being a little bit stubborn, getting that grease on my hands. I'm going to wipe that scale off. Give me better traction. So there you go. So that would have came off easier if I would have had a better grip. Just clean that off while I have it open. The inside of the scales are actually nicely stonewashed, which is neat. I don't know if you could actually see that. Really nice. So there is a lot of attention to detail paid to these leeks. Just wiggling this blade off, and you see that very tiny washer there. Just gonna take that off, and I usually place these down the same side they go onto the blade. You see a lot of their factory grease there. I will be taking that off. I prefer the stuff that I use. It doesn't tend to travel. It doesn't tend to collect a lot of dust like this grease would. So just cleaning this off with some Kleenex here. You see the machining on the actual locking portion of the tang. It's machined really well. Explains why the lockup on these knives are really tight, really no blade play to speak of. Just giving this another wipe down around the pivot and the other bronze or phosphorus bronze washer. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to take the other scale off. There's really no need. But you can see their actual lock design. Really simple lock. You just slide that forward and it's blocked. The tip of the blade is blocked from actually being able to go out. Super simple design, but actually very effective. Show you the blade again. So just grab some oil and put this thing back together. Fairly simple design on the inside. I mean, it's not too complicated. Came apart fairly easily. I know putting sort of sandwich construction together, or sandwiched construction knives like this together, there, that was a little better, can be a little bit tricky, but sort of if you just leave it sort of one side complete and stack it up, it usually goes back together fine. So just before I put that blade on, I'll grab a little bit of oil. I recently been using just my finger to apply the oil. Using Kleenex, paper towel, and stuff like that, I see a lot of lint left behind from that. Using my finger, I could actually tell how much I'm putting on and not have to deal with any debris. I'm sort of taking apart a knife to clean it. I don't want to put it together with more crap in it than I did originally. One thing I am noticing, you see me looking around there and not really saying anything. I thought for a second there I lost the stop pin, but there's no stop pin in this knife. The actual stop pin is this part of the blade tang. So just put this back on like this, and you can see there when the blade's opening, the liner lock will move into place, and this portion will stop on the back of the liner lock. That's pretty neat. So just putting a little bit more oil on this. I'm going to put a little bit more on this knife than I would most of my other knives, just because it is an assisted one. Set the blades on. What should I do next? Probably put the backspacer on. And I've done this before, not with this, but I'll just take a little bit of this grease here and maybe figure out which way this backspacer went on. So it goes on that way. So I'm going to take some of this grease and just put it on the back of this, so it'll sort of stick to the liner, so it won't move around or fall off as easily. You can see there, I could tilt this up now, and that backspacer will actually stay in place. It's a little neat trick to taking a lot of hassle out of putting together these knives again. Alright, so then I'll grab the liner, I guess. But I better take this bushing or this washer and just give it a rub down. Grab a little bit more oil, not that much. That'll be good. Grab my other bearing or my washer. Put that on. And then I guess it'd be this liner next. A little dab of oil. Sorry if I keep bumping the camera, guys. I'm trying to lean over and do this first person rather than looking through the actual viewfinder. So keeping that backspacer in place, just going to sort of lay that first liner on top. Going to grab my speed safe spring, and this just goes into a little notch in the blade and into the actual handle scale and backspacer. Just like that. Then lay your other scale right on top. Line up your pivot and push that down a little bit. Maybe just sort of center your handles, and then pinching them together with a lot of force. You're going to want to start with the furthest screw away from the pivot. But the first screw you actually want to put in is going to be your pivot screw, just so everything stays together. Switch out my bit here. I'm not going to Loctite this. The screws don't have Loctite on them right now, and I haven't had a problem with this knife with the screws backing out, so I'm not going to do it with this one. Just lining up that backspacer again. Grab my bottom screw. Switch out my bit. And you don't want to tighten these screws down full torque right away. You just want to make sure they're all in first. You could run into problems with threading these screws in. If you torque them down, it'll just screw with the whole balance of the knife. So now that they're all in, I'm just going to go and snug them all up. Not full yet. Just hand do this pivot here. Then you want to close it up and check for centering. At this point, it's centered. So you would go back and tighten all these up. Never apply too much force. It's always better to have to go back and tighten up your screws rather than putting a lot of torque onto them and risk stripping them out. It's always a pain when a small screw like this strips out, especially if it's flush like this and you have no way of getting it out. Just tighten up this pivot a little bit if it needs it. Test the action. A little stiff, loosen it. Give it a couple flicks to work it in. Get that oil moved around that you just put in. It's actually smoother to close now. Less pressure to actually close the blade. And not one bit of blade play. I actually snug this up a little more. That might be too tight. Yeah. And no blade play. So yeah, that was taking apart and putting back together the Kershaw Leek. Liner lock model, not the frame lock. Really easy knife to take apart and put together, guys. I'm no expert at this. I've screwed up maybe 3 knives trying to take them apart. I'm going to be honest with you. And this is one of the easier ones to put back together. So thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope this helps someone out there. And stay tuned for more. Take care, guys. Bye.